Town of Naples Budget Committee meeting for Wednesday, February 12th. It is 6:01 p.m. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Roll call tonight. Steve Merkel.
Here.
Steve Hoyt.
Present.
Samantha Hayes.
Here.
Bob Caren's here. Remote is Jim Gratello.
Yep, here.
Thank you, Jim. And town staff tonight is Patricia Crisco and Jason Rogers. Thanks for attending. Absent is Colin Brackett. Take a motion to review and approve the minutes for January 29th, 2025, please.
Did you throw in that grant stuff that I had emailed you back about?
Grant stuff? I didn't see
Under
that.
fire and rescue, I'd asked you to throw in my question about the grant. Just seeing if they had used up all the grants that they could possibly use.
Apologize for not getting that in there.
That's fine.
Let's see, Mr. Chair, we recommend getting a vote to approve the minutes with the amendment to include a comment on the grants question regarding whether or not existing grants have been exhausted.
Okay. Motion made.
I second it.
Second. Any other discussion? All in favor present? Aye.
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 Jim Gratello?
Yes, hey.
Nay. Okay. Passes 5-0. Okay. Old business. Anyone have any old business to bring before the board?
I got a couple questions on old business, if I may.
Yes, sir, Mr. Turpin.
I was just
Come on,
curious.
come on right up to the top, please.
Jim Turpin. The $125,000 that was TIF funded for the Village Green, how are we on spending on that? And if we don't spend the full 125, does it remain in place, go back into the TIF kitty, or?
So we've spent $60,000 has been issued to the landscaper for work that's happened. The rest of the work is expected to be completed this spring.
Yep.
And you are correct, any funds that aren't expended will go back into the TIF account.
Okay. Same general question in regard to, we allocated, I think, 10,000 plus 14,000 for new fencing on a couple of the cemeteries.
Yes.
Will that be done, or?
So the fences were assessed by, remind me of the contract that we used, Steve, for our cemetery maintenance?
That's Honeydew, isn't it? Yeah, Honeydew.
So the contractor that we use, Honeydew, he assessed those fences this fall. He'll be making some repairs to them this spring. I don't expect that we will, as far as painting the ones that were like, they look like scaffolding posts. So we're looking to have those at least painted, and then any funds that aren't used, those would go back into the general fund.
But, I mean, the plan was for new fencing across the front of those cemeteries.
Yep.
That remains the plan?
That remains the plan. We'll see if we can do it in that budget. If it's going to exceed that budget, then we won't proceed.
Yeah, but again, the money was allocated with the presentation that, I just want a clear understanding. I don't really care one way or the other. As far as I'm concerned, the fences that are the $10,000 project, the fence that's there is fine, it's easily repaired. The whole thing would look better if we painted it, but where $10,000 was allocated specifically for new fencing across the front of it, I'm just gonna keep an eye on whether that is in fact what's gonna happen or whether it's something else.
Yep. So no, it wouldn't go to anything else. The plan is still move forward with that plan in the spring.
Okay, good, thank you.
Any other old business? Okay, seeing none, we'll move right into new business. Review and consider the budget request for maintenance department first.
Okay. Okay, so for maintenance department, recommended budget for this year is $578,005. Total budget went up by $70,615 over the previous year. Notable increases in the budget were a salary increase of $5,613. That reflects a 2.5% COLA increase in addition to a 1.5% performance increase for the foreman of the maintenance department, for a total of 4% increase for that one employee. Healthcare went up by $36,302. New paid family medical leave, $2,173. Retirement, $281. Ground maintenance went up $1,654 per contract. Recreation and field maintenance went up by $12,500. So this number, as we go into the vote, this number may change. Last year there was a request to add $25,000 to get sports fields to come in and do the grooming of the fields twice a year. In talking with the rec director who reached out to sports fields, they said they could only do once this year in the spring. In my mind, that meant half as much. Not the case. One visit from sports fields is $22,500. So we'll see how that goes this spring and see if the bang is worth the buck, so to speak. But if we like it, there's an option that we could increase that budget amount to the $22,500 to account for them to come back again next year. But I think for now, keeping it at $12,500 is probably appropriate.
Do we have a breakdown of what is entailed in that money they're gonna do?
I don't have the breakdown. I can have that for the next meeting.
Just curious to see what they're gonna do if we could, for the 14,000.
Well, no, it's $22,500 just this year for one visit.
That's right. I really would like to see a breakdown of what they plan on
Yep.
doing to our field, please.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Equipment maintenance. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Jim.
Is that the same company that we used several years ago that only charged us $7,500?
Correct.
Yep, there it is.
Yep, and we had reached out to them for a fall treatment, and I believe the report back was they had so much work on their docket already, they could not take us on. And when we looked at 2 visits this year, they said they can definitely do 1, but 2 is unlikely.
Well, they did, in fairness to them, they did tell us the year that we hired them, they expected that we were gonna hire them every year, so they worked us into their schedule. And then we stopped hiring them because all of a sudden it was said that we could handle it ourselves and we didn't need to spend the $7,500. So, you know, I can understand why they're reluctant to come. But I agree with Bob, $22,000 to resurface that field. I mean, my God, why can't we do it?
We did do it last year, and the fields were in good shape last year.
So why are we?
So why aren't we doing it this year?
Well, it was already appropriated in this year's budget to spend it. We'll look at what the work they're gonna do, and I'll make a recommendation to the select board, but the appropriation's already there for this year.
Well, just because the appropriation is there doesn't mean we have to spend it if we can save money and do it in a better fashion.
Yeah,
There's no rule that says we have to spend an appropriation. If we find out that A, we don't need it, or B, we can do it much cheaper with another company or do it in-house.
Yep.
That's why seeing the breakdown, Jim, of what they're gonna do, it really is gonna,
Yeah,
I
Yeah.
think, once we see that, we'll have a better understanding of what this $24,000 is and what we did as a town versus what they're gonna do.
Okay.
right, yep.
Mr. Chair, Brian, our director, if you had a comment.
So I just
Brian,
just stand up
Brian,
for the
just stand up, please, sorry.
So I just sent that breakdown to Jason, so I just sent it to you in your email. I just wanted to be clear though, it's not coming once. It's that they couldn't come in the fall. So typically, if they were on their regular schedule, they would start with a fall, and then in the spring, before the season started, they come. On this breakdown that I just sent Jason, which he said he'd have for next meeting, they're coming in April/May of 2025, again in July, August of 2025, and then September before the 15th of 2025. And then they have an October one, and then they move it into 2026. So it's not one visit,
Okay.
it's just they couldn't come in the fall.
I appreciate that.
And that breakdown I just sent to you.
So is it 22 for 3? Or is it
This
22,000 for
quote-
each?
Was for 3 visits?
It's hard to read it on my phone, and I can't remember.
It
But
better
yes.
not be each.
No, it's not each, just, this is a total quote for that.
Oh, so it's 22,000 for 3
So if
visits.
not, they're only
Okay,
coming
so-
once this year. If they
Yeah,
only
so
come once this year,
that was
they're still-
my misunderstanding of the conversation. I only understood it as one visit.
Might as
So I
well.
apologize.
But that's 3 for 2025.
Yeah, but I don't know, as far as our budget is concerned, right? That's, how many of that is in that fiscal year where that was allocated, so we might have, I don't know.
Well, May would, if it's April, May 2025, that's in last year's budget
Right.
for this approval, because our budget kicks in July 1st.
Right.
So then it'd really be.
So then the September, October would be.
Right.
So
it'd be
I can,
nice-
if you want, I can try to get clarification on that.
Well,
with them.
plus if we see the numbers at the next meeting, we'll have a better understanding too.
Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, nice to see exactly what they laid out for the town, I think,
Mm-hmm.
for the budget committee to really look at.
Agreed.
Thank you.
Thanks, Brian. All right, equipment maintenance went up slightly by $1,700. We do have an aging fleet, so things break and repairs are necessary. Building maintenance went up slightly by $1,000, same reason. Porta potty rentals went up by $150. We did, Oktoberfest, we had to keep a porta potty for a week longer. That's one porta potty for 1 week. Talking with the maintenance director, I think we'll be able to work with that number. And we'll see what the attendance is this year and whether or not that's actually supporting the need. Vehicle maintenance went up, $3,600. Same reasons, we do have aging equipment. Uniform expenses went up by $1,000. We do outsource our uniforms rather than, when I first got here, there was a expressed interest of, hey, when maintenance is out and about town, they should be recognizable, hey, that's a maintenance team member. So working with Steve, the most economical way, rather than purchasing individual uniform items, was to contract with a company that supplies uniforms when they become distressed due to the nature of their work. And then insurance went up by $560. There's a recommendation in the upper right-hand corner, talking with Steve and maintenance at Kent's Landing. In the past, the staff that mans the shack there, going to Kent's Landing, that's typically been in the rec department budget. The way it was worked was, it was in the rec department budget, but it was managed by Marine Safety. But Steve had, from our maintenance department, the maintenance department director, a lot of the care that goes on down there between the restrooms and the beaches, there's just a lot of stuff that they have to do, and they're around town a lot. This coming year, the summer rec program is going to be over at Songo, working to get it over at Songo School. So Brian won't be down here as much to properly supervise them, so it didn't make sense to put that supervision over to the rec department. So all that being said, my intent is to move that $24,000 from the rec department budget over to the maintenance department budget. If we do that, that'll increase the maintenance department budget by $24,000 and decrease the rec department budget by $24,000. And that's something that we can discuss when we get to the voting portion of the budget process.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, Bob,
Go ahead, Jim.
I'm confused. I thought Marine Patrol handled, so when we say Kent's Landing, we talking about the person that's standing in the booth?
Correct.
That's correct.
I thought Marine Safety was overseeing that because they were doing boat inspection.
Yeah, so again, it was, and just because of when I came into the budget process late last year, this wasn't something that I picked up on and changed. It was talked about, but did not move it last year. The way it works is, the budget line item has always been in the rec department, but the management of the staff at Kent's Landing always fell under the Marine Safety Division. So
You just said it fell, whoa. You just said it fell under Brian, and Brian wasn't gonna be able to supervise it.
No, as I was considering, a change in the management process this year, I considered Brian, but Brian won't be around. He'll be over at Songo Locks. So it didn't make sense to put it under him and leave that budget line item in recreation. So that's why I'm recommending moving that budget line item from recreation over to maintenance, and maintenance will, this year, manage that team in the shack. Does that make sense?
So maintenance is gonna know everything about inspecting boats and milfoil and everything, where Marine Safety used to know about that before?
They will not, but the team that will be working the shack will have that training.
Yes.
Is everyone aware, is it public knowledge, is everyone aware of the changes that are taking place at Marine Safety right now?
No.
Publicly, no.
All right.
All right, so that concludes my brief, standing by for any questions.
Okay. Any questions, Jim, for maintenance
Yeah, I
department?
got a quick question for Brian.
Okay, go
I
ahead.
understand there's a camp director's position being posted.
Okay.
Isn't that what Ben did last year, your assistant?
No, Ben is the assistant director. That's what we want to keep that position, that programmer, to be the assistant director.
Jim, you're in the wrong department, Jim.
Yeah, that's true. We can answer that later, I guess, right?
So that's a recreation committee department.
Good point.
Oh, Jesus, sorry.
That's okay. That's why I was just curious on where you're going with this.
You can ask me later.
It's the medication up there.
Do you have any questions for the maintenance?
Yeah.
I know, I figured you would say. Are you good, Jim?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, I'll let Samantha talk.
All right. I have a question on the cemeteries. So we have a total of $56,104 going towards the cemeteries. So this is I'll tell you the breakdown, and you can tell me why I'm wrong.
No,
so-
I'm not gonna tell you you're wrong, 'cause
So-
I do not have that contract number in front of me.
Or what all the differences are. So we got 6,160 that we're giving to the committee, the cemetery committee. And that's a 6,000 for general and $160 for a database, which
Okay.
is somewhere else.
Okay,
Sitting
wait,
capital
wait,
improvement.
Under my budget, you're saying cemeteries.
Yeah. So under your budget, well, I'm throwing that out there because it's all still cemeteries, but then
But I'll be honest with you, I don't know a darn thing that
what
they're doing.
they actually do?
Right,
Okay.
I mean, that's like Mr. Turpin with the question on the fences. I know that I need to repair and paint a few fences as far as putting up new fence. I'm not privy to
We don't know.
that. That's part
Okay.
of the cemetery committee.
So under yours, we've got 1,200 for a stipend for cemetery. And
That
then-
would be that is for me, that is for my, I'm the cemetery custodian, I have to go out there and measure, and it's dealing with more.
Selling the lots.
Yes, well, I help with that, the lots are basically sold in there, but I have to meet with the customer, mark them out, measure them out. There isn't one, like Crooked River, there isn't one that is measured out. We have to measure each individual one out from start to finish, so,
And then there's $48,904 for a cemetery contract.
correct. That is for a honeydew
Is that
list, they come and they,
That's the cleanup, fall cleanup, spring cleanup, they cut it. Cut the grass yearly. That was a contract that select board signed last year or 2 years ago.
Couple years, it expires this year.
Yeah, it
We
expires
sent-
this
They went out to a
coming year.
bid, they were the only one that came back, and the select board took the contract for 3 years, and this is the fee we're paying for it.
this is actually,
So
I
they
think,
clean and they mow,
yep, they mow, they clean up
You
all the
measure.
leaves, everything.
you measure and sell, that's gruesome.
Yep.
And then what does the committee do?
So the cemetery committee, right now, they are in the process of mapping the cemeteries. We don't have, so the town cemeteries are, we know where everyone is, but there is no central, easily accessed database. So if someone comes in and wants to know where was Mr. Smith buried, he was my great-great-grandfather, they have to go through the files to find Mr. Smith, give him, and write down a plot number, and give that to the resident. So that's for the town cemeteries, but the remaining cemeteries that aren't town-owned, they don't have a history to them. So that's primarily what they work on.
So is the $6,000 paying someone that's sitting on a committee? for
No,
the
that's
work
if they
do?
have to do improvements, like we voted in, a couple specific improvements, well, the fences specifically this past year, but there are other improvements that have to happen in cemeteries throughout the year, and that's what that's supposed to
A couple
cover.
of years ago, their committee worked and repaired a lot of the headstones that were damaged. Worked with an outside group, and the select board authorized funds to help cover the cost of those headstones being repaired. So the committee worked with the group that was repairing those headstones, or the fences around certain people's stones that are lotted that were damaged, like the main one here, the big black one, or the main one was repaired. The committee organized that. Some of the committees worked on it. The committees also worked on repairing some of the walls around the cemeteries. So some of the funds that were given to them by the select board goes to paying for the concrete and the rocks and the extra stuff like that.
Got
All
it.
the
And that-
committee is all volunteers, but it's all the stuff they need to do the work
to do it, and that can't be captured underneath this contract that we have with the Honeydew.
with the honeydew. I don't believe so, it was the contract,
Theirs is only basically a
Grounds
landscaping
grounds
contract. Grounds, clean up in the.
stand up please.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Grounds clean up in the fall, all the leaves, grounds clean up in the spring, and then they mow. They're there once a week mowing, and they mow this cemetery here. They mow the one by, I call it the Comtel building, but right by Brandy View. And
Across
then
from Moose Landing Marina.
yeah, right across from Moose Landing.
Yeah.
They also do the cemetery at Crooked River and Eats Falls. So those 4 cemeteries,
Okay,
along with, at spring cleanup, they clean up 13 cemeteries once.
got it. Okay.
So that's, the spring cleanup is usually the biggest one.
Yeah.
You know, they do 13 cemeteries because we have to maintain, by state law, we have to at least clean up the cemetery once a year,
Year.
even if there's, you know, because there's veterans in them.
Yeah,
So,
okay,
even though we don't own them.
okay,
And they were the only contractor. That's why I send in an RPI.
They were,
got it.
very much so.
Yeah, the only one.
Yeah, so, and it's kind of no different than the Causeway contract. Usually to be honest with you, we get, the last time we got 3. We got one from Honeydew, we got one from Caretake America, and we got one from someplace out of like Augusta. And that guy came in at $100,000.
Right.
So it was obvious
Yeah.
you didn't come down and look.
And Steve, correct me if I'm wrong on this. There is a requirement that if there's a veteran in the cemetery, we are required to maintain that veteran site.
Correct.
But because we don't have a clear understanding, even in the private cemeteries, of where everybody is, we can't, since we don't know that specifically, this plot number is a veteran, we do the spring and fall cleanup as to meet our obligation to clean up veteran
Correct.
sites.
And if it gets, the one thing with Mike, with Honeydew list, if it looks like we've had it looks like a hayfield, and it's not a cemetery that we do normally during the summer, he goes in there just to make it look decent. You know, he'll go in there and weed whack and clean it up.
Yeah,
And he does take a lot of care in what we give him, so.
okay, just trying to make sure, because
Oh, no.
we were spread out
I
everywhere.
totally understand.
Go ahead,
Just
Jim.
for clarification, everybody's overall understanding, there's something like 13-plus cemeteries in town. How many of those does the town own?
3.
Okay. In terms of maintaining the other cemeteries, my understanding of the legislation is that we are required within those private cemeteries to see to it that veterans are organized, are recognized. What I don't recall seeing is any requirement that the town is responsible for maintaining those private cemeteries generally.
Correct, and that was
Thank
my
you.
point, is since we don't know the veteran status of everybody in the
Yeah, I follow the
cemeteries.
logic on that, can't argue with it, yeah, but in terms of their day-to-day and yearly maintenance, if we want to do that, fine, it's not legislatively our responsibility. Thank you.
Correct, Jim. Yeah, we only maintain those 4.
Right.
So
It's 4?
it's 4.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions, Jim?
Nope.
You're good? No, it's all good. Anybody else have any questions for Steve? No? Thanks, Steve, appreciate it.
All right.
Roads and highways.
I know you
Yeah,
want to say.
before we get to roads and highways, I did receive an ask from Jim Curtello following the last meeting to better understand overtime. So we had the finance department dig through fiscal years 23, 24, and I got year-to-date for 25 overtime costs. To look at the numbers, yeah, if you look on Fridays, absolutely, there's more overtime on a Friday than other days. We did not switch to the 4-day work week until summer 2023, so that was in fiscal year 22. So in 23, the staff size for the maintenance department was anywhere from 2 to 2.5 personnel. Maintenance director, because he has a strong passion for his job and the service he provides to the town, to his fault, he was not properly claiming all of his overtime. answering, he'd come into work, wouldn't claim it. When he was off hours, stay late, wouldn't claim it. When I came on in late '24, we talked about overtime and the importance of documenting it, because that's how you track whether or not you're properly staffed. Because if you're burning out the people that you have and you're logging large amounts of overtime, that means you're getting burnt out and you need more people. So then we went into FY '24. Staff size fluctuated between 2.5 and 3 personnel. We struggled with a couple employees, went through some turnover, so that contributed to, just again, the short staff issue that we had. Weather responses did increase in FY '24, as well as support to special events. Maintenance director was directed, like I said, shortly after I came on board, to keep better track of and account for his overtime. I also put more administrative requirements on him. A lot of things that were done by the previous town manager, Steve as the department head, they were within his purview. He definitely has the subject matter expertise, so he started covering down on a lot of those items. So that's why you see the overtime numbers that you do. 25, remember last year we did appropriate for the hiring of a 4th person within the maintenance department. As we're trending right now, we're on, depending on storm response, we're tracking to be under what we were in '24 as far as overtime. Friday is still a busier day. Steve does come, our maintenance director does, he is a working foreman. He's out on the street. If we're doing ditch work and it requires flaggers, it's not just a 2-person job or a 3-person, sometimes it's 4. So that 40-hour work week burns through pretty quick. So a lot of times he will come in on a Friday, spend a few hours to, 3 hours or so to catch up on that admin. He is everything from responding to insurance claims. We just had a light pole that was knocked out over by the pizza place there on the causeway. So there's insurance claims to go with that. There's contacting contractors and electricians to make those repairs. Things that are outside the normal, those unexpected items that come up that contribute to the overtime. So I wanted to provide that context, because it's not just a matter of the numbers. There are circumstances that just push you outside that 40-hour work week. And along with all of that, and as much as I urge Steve that, hey, when you're getting calls at 6 o'clock at night or text messages because there's a dead deer in your yard or you got to complain about something, Steve doesn't bill for those hours, when he should be by labor standards. But again, Steve is highly dedicated to this, and I'll continue to push him to document his overtime. But I wanted to paint that picture for you. Jim, since you asked for this information, do you have any questions on what's been provided?
Yeah. Again, to be an equal opportunity complainer, as I was with the clerk's office, we have 4 people in that department, and there's absolutely no reason why they can still have a 4-day work week and have 2 work on Monday and 2 work on Friday. The town is getting to the point where they have so many employees, and yet we're providing less services than we did 2 years ago. And as you pointed out, for whatever reason, Friday seems to be the day that we incur quite a bit of overtime. So one size doesn't fit all, and we've got to get out of this mode that every single employee works a 4-day work week and every single employee has freaking Friday off, has Monday off instead of Friday, or vice versa. You can't have it both ways. You can't say you need all this staff to do all this work and then turn around and say, oh, by the way, we still only want to work a 4-day work week. You can have it both. You can have 2 people work on Monday, 2 people work on Friday. So your foreman works on Monday, Steve works on Friday, or vice versa. You can be flexible with the schedule. You know when storms are coming. There can be comp time. This black and white policy of the way we're doing things around here is costing us money. And I don't disagree for 1 second that Steve puts in a lot of time. I'm not debating that at all. This has got nothing to do with Steve. I'm just talking about a philosophy, a general philosophy for the total town.
So just to rebut a couple of those, Steve's department has been on a 5-day work week since the fall. We have we've got a solid team of 4 in that department now. We're pretty stable with our staffing. So we do work a 4-day work week, or sorry, a 5-day work week in the maintenance department. And, you're correct. We do know when storms are coming, but that doesn't change the fact that we still have 160 hours plus work of work that has to happen each week. So I've got folks in that department that have more than 400 hours of vacation time logged. If they're not taking vacation, they're not gonna take comp time, because the time's not there, because the work still has to happen. Yes, in that department, they do work a 5-day work week, so they're not just a Monday through Thursday team.
I guess I'm concerned too, Jason, and I mean, I know Steve can be passionate, a lot of people are about their job, but working for the town, it's up to the town manager and town managers before you. Anytime he's in a town truck, he's on town clock. He cannot be not logging his hours. I got it, I mean, I'm all about loyalty, I'm all about loving your job, but you work for the town of Naples, and you should be compensated for every time you're in that truck doing work for the town of Naples. Okay?
Bob, as you previously know, when you were on the select board, back then I did not. I have, hence, there's your graph.
Yeah, but
It
that's,
is not all, just so everybody is very much aware, just because that tower is on Fridays, when did most of our rainstorms come last year? Fridays, Friday afternoon. And when the water is rushing down Lambs Mills Road, all of us were down here with equipment trying to make sure our road didn't go away.
no, I'm not
No,
questioning
no,
anything.
no,
All I'm
no.
saying is that when any town employee's on the clock,
Nope.
they need to be paid for, it, whether it's overtime or not.
I apologize, I
know?
didn't specify, but as you can see by the graph, if I'm in that truck, it's right there.
Okay, perfect.
It's there. I don't do that anymore. My family got very aggravated for 7 years that I didn't do that,
Right.
so.
And any town manager that represents the town of Naples that asks you not to report those hours,
Oh, nobody
I
ever
know,
asked me
but
to.
they should be beaten and they should say, Steve, you need to let us know. Okay, it's not right.
I got Pat to do that now.
Okay.
Any additional questions on this slide?
Jim, you all set?
Yep.
Okay, thank you. Good.
All right, so onto the roads budget. Roads budget is at $99,382.
Negative.
Nope, 720?
It's
That's not-
negative.
that's
Did I?
not
I'm
99.
sorry. I apologize.
I'm gonna say, really?
We lost a contractor.
I mean, I like that number better, can we?
Nope. Nope, you are right. You are right. One second, let me flip to the front slide here. I was doing so good.
Yep, you just lost it.
Yep, credibility's out the door. All right, so, yes, the budget proposal for this year is $720,537. The rest of the numbers are correct. The overall budget went up $29,275. Notable budget increases were street sweeping went up by $1,375 per contract. Crack sealing went up by $12,500. This is to address cracking on town roads as well as the parking area here at the town office. There's a plan to go ahead and have it crack sealed and sealed this year. So that will ensure the longevity of the parking area. Snow removal and sand went up by $18,100 by contract. Sand and salt went up by $7,500. This is to account for anticipated increases in cost of materials. Last year's bids came in, we were able to get a bid under $17 a yard, but all the other bids came in at least $3 above that. So we anticipate a pretty good increase this year.
Where did the bids coming from?
So we had Allied,
Did 3 last year.
yeah, we had Allied, I think Shaw,
Shaw Brothers.
and P&K.
No, Shaw Brothers, American Excavation, and D&K.
Okay.
That was the 3 that we had.
Yeah.
And American Excavation came in at $16.80 a yard
Yeah.
on that.
Rex doesn't put in for that?
We send him one, hon. We send out, I apologize, I sit down. We send out anywheres between 8 to 10 bids out to different contractors, and Rex has never. He has never actually, Shaw Brothers always does, they come in usually the highest. But this year, everybody's gonna realize sand is becoming a commodity. Portland Sand and Gravel got bought out by Shaw Brothers, and that was a hush-hush for quite a few weeks. And they still have not started selling sand out of there yet. There is very much anticipated that they won't be. There are other alternatives out there. We need to explore those. I need time to do some research. There's a thing called manufactured sand, which is, it's a coarse stone dust. And it's not really dust, so that's a bad analogy for it, but it's a byproduct of crushing stone. It's a little bit cheaper. We've got to change the way we do things though, because it comes in wet. I need time for that to dry before I introduce salt to it, because the wetness is going to dissolve the salt, and I'm really wasting salt. So it's becoming a commodity, so we gotta put it back out for bid one
Jason's
more time.
leaving, do you think we can get him to start sweeping up the stuff that's already been drawn?
I wish DEP would let us do that. Cause I'd start now.
And then on the bumper sticker forecasted revenue, we do get
We got Jim Turner.
we do get a reimbursement from Department of Transportation. In their road reimbursement, we get $50,000 a year from them, and that's applied to that.
Okay, thank you. Yes, sir, Jim.
Just out of curiosity, how many trucks do we own that have a plow on them?
4.
All right, and what do we plow with those 4 trucks?
Currently, right now, we plow all of our town facilities. We plow Campfire Drive, we plow Tricky Pond Boat Launch, the Legion Field, and quite a few times a year we have to go plow a couple other small roads that usually get missed, and we end up taking care of that because of a safety issue.
All right, it just does
Yep.
seem that we're accumulating a fleet, and I was wondering what we were doing with them at
Yes,
this
sir.
point. Thank you.
Yep, the plows that we do have on our trucks right now, though, would you say they're suitable for plowing our main roads?
No,
Negative.
No,
Not
just
at all.
wanna make sure.
no, that wasn't my question at all. I know what's required, the investment that's required for plowing the main roads. It's just keeping track of the number of plow trucks we have, and what we're doing with them.
Okay.
Any other questions for Jason regarding the roads and highways budget? Jim, you good?
Yep.
Okay, Samantha?
I'm good.
Okay, no, good, thank you.
Okay, so onto the recreation budget. Recreation proposed budget is $355,393. Overall budget went up $7,220. Notable budget increases, salaries went up $12,481. That's a 2.5% COLA. Also, we moved the budget line item that used to be in there, which was the assistant camp director budget line item. And that rolled into part of the annual salary compensation for the programmer. That's why salaries appears to be larger than normal. Healthcare went up $10,131. Paid family medical leave, $314. Retirement went up $5,592. Basketball went up $2,925 for the replacement of uniforms and the costs of refs. Football went up $550. There was one additional home game that was scheduled here this year, so that's the reffing fees for that. Baseball and softball went up $4,380, and again, that's for uniforms and refs. Soccer went up $2,145 for uniforms and refs primarily. Notable budget decreases. And I'll come down to the last item there, community events here in a moment. Noticeable budget decreases, dental and life insurance went down $3,333. Playground maintenance went down by $1,000, that was moved over to the maintenance budget. Recreation and field maintenance went down $25,200. Again, that was moved over to maintenance at a lower cost, I think at $12,500 in the maintenance department budget for that. Property insurance went down $313. Kent's Landing uniforms went down $250. This was originally moved from marine safety. As with the recommended change there in the bottom left-hand corner with moving that staff under maintenance, I would likely move the $250 uniform budget over to the maintenance department as well. That accounts for the t-shirts that are issued each year. Items that moved out of they were separate line items, and we've moved them collectively under the community events line. Spring celebration went down 900, community cleanup went down 900, Halloween events went down 1,400, and movie nights went down 400. Again, I zeroed those out for this year and moved those numbers under the community events line. So the community events line went up by a corresponding number of $4,450. As I recommended in the maintenance slide, recommend moving the Kent's Landing staff budget out of the recreation department into the maintenance department. If we did that, this budget would go down by nearly $18,000.
But it's not really going down, it's just getting moved to somewhere
Right.
else.
Right,
Right.
the recreation department would go down, but again, the corresponding increase would be in the maintenance department.
Right, so
Correct.
the only thing that really went down, you're saying is the insurance.
The noticeable
and-
decreases, yes.
Yeah, okay.
And then projected revenues, these numbers will likely change a little bit, and we're gonna cover revenues next week. Had it at $106,050. There are some additional revenues. The rec director has done a tremendous job growing our programs here in town and the participation. So those revenues are expected to go up slightly over this $106,000, and I'll have some updated numbers for you at next week's meeting.
Guys, Brian, a couple questions?
Yep, so that concludes my update, so, Ron?
Thank you. I'm just curious on, I mean, your movie nights are popular, Halloween events you do here are spectacular too. Why is there a decrease?
There's no decrease.
Well, it went down.
So,
It
again,
it only went
$2,600.
down because we moved it to another. So it's the same as moving it from one department to another. We moved it from one line item to another.
Yeah, it's not
So
actually going
it's
down,
all
it's
lumped
moved.
into community events now.
Instead
So
of
that-
breaking, that's,
So that is if that's, you add up 900, 900, 1,400,
I got it,
1,250,
yep.
exactly.
I got it.
So it's the same.
so anything like, I mean, okay.
Yeah, so
They're
it's
not
not,
gonna expand anymore like that.
We, no, not at this time. That money is good for what we're trying to do. that suffices.
Suffices what you need to do.
Yeah,
Okay.
especially with the addition of,
Well, the
the
turnout's
additional
been
labor,
so
it's good.
popular, that's why I was surprised that there wasn't more of an increase for those areas.
We're finding ways to, we have that base that we do and that costs, but, we're adding things that don't cost as much or things that don't cost anything. And the more people come and the more they've been just phenomenal events, so.
Good.
At this point, there's no plan for
Good.
that.
All right, thank you. Go ahead, Steve.
Brian, is community cleanup, is that Earth Day?
Yes.
Okay, I'll tell you my only concern, because I honestly can't remember, but I know that we had taken some items to Kinsella last year. Maybe not my department, but we got a couple from, people went around and picked things up, and they dropped it at Kinsella. Kinsella has gone up considerably in their tipping fees.
Really?
So it's just something to think, $195 a ton.
So the volunteer we have that has taken over the
Yeah.
coordination for Earth Day will be returning from her vacation this week, and we have a meeting set up, coming right up, so we'll look into, I don't know, I mean, is there a window to increase that if we need to, like?
Well, I
if it's
just, keep in
considerable,
the back of your mind, I mean, that's about almost $90 a ton extra from what they were
What-
last year.
Do you know off the top of your head? You don't? What
I
we
don't
paid
know how
last
much
year?
was taken there, because I can't remember.
Okay.
I don't.
The majority of the trash that was taken was free, it was donated, right? It was a donated dumpster, it was so this is extra above and beyond that, is what you're saying?
Right.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead, Jim, you got a question?
Well, he just answered part of it. If I recall, there was a donated dumpster,
There was,
and the trash went into that dumpster. So this is over and above what went in the dumpster?
yes,
Yeah, I was unaware that even happened.
yeah, there was.
Who brought the stuff on?
Doesn't Casco do Earth Day as well?
They do.
Yes.
It's a joint
So,
effort.
Let me get this straight. Casco and Naples owns the transfer station. We put on an Earth Day for the benefit of the environment and our citizens. And then we don't take the trash there because they're gonna charge us from our own facilities. So we bring it to a third-party facility and we pay for it?
Correct.
That's correct.
Oh my God.
Yeah, but now the cost difference, last year was about, I think it was 128 a ton.
And we're at
And,
195.
and we pay, and now it's at 195. Typically at our transfer station, our fee is $105. So the delta was relatively small last year between the two. But now with where it's at, obviously the effort's gonna bring things over to our transfer station.
Correct.
My point is we shouldn't pay $1 on that particular day when we're bringing the trash from Earth Day. Those vehicles should be able to go to our transfer station at no charge
Well,
and drop the trash off.
No, and that is a topic that will be brought up at the transfer station council meeting. Right now, we're scheduled to have it tomorrow night, but it might have to move due to weather. But absolutely, the transfer station could authorize to appropriate the cost of dumping that material out of their budget, and it wouldn't cost the towns anything in support of Earth Day or the cleanup.
I'll donate my stickers to Earth Day.
I know that I'm supposed to be.
Yeah, really.
I mean, really.
I know I'm supposed to be answering questions right now, but I really want to ask one right now. So we had the dumpsters. This is the first I've heard of this. So we had the dumpsters, and they were for anything you put in that dumpster was hauled for free. They were donated. Who brought?
Brian, I don't know.
So like just residents, just.
No, I don't have the answer for that. I just remember that I had to code some deliveries for that. So I just was wanting to bring that to light, that they've had an increase in their cost, you know.
So unless they had certain things that they don't allow to go in the dumpster.
Right.
Which you do find on the side of the road for that, I've definitely
Right.
picked up on Sebago Road going
Yeah.
down. You know, some items that shouldn't be in the dumpster.
We pick things up all the time off the side of the road, washing machines,
Yep,
couches,
right,
grills.
okay.
Quick question.
Go ahead, Steve.
It was said earlier about summer camp possibly moving to Songo Locks.
Yeah.
Is that gonna change the price factored in the budget here on what they're gonna charge us?
Really good question. So, Songalocks there's no cost to use Songalocks.
Okay.
It's part of a grant. We pay nothing to use it, community grant. However, we no longer, because we've outgrown this facility, because we don't have a gym here, we don't have the giant tent on the green anymore, like we've just outgrown this facility. And we have a wait list and we're not providing care. So to be able to take more kids, we're moving there. The cost now rise, we have to take a bus to the beach every day, where we used to just walk across the road. So the cost of the bus for the entire season, assuming no rain out days, 4 days a week of bringing the bus back and forth for two different groups is around $8,600 for the summer. We have, this final decision to move to Songo Locks is just being made now. The 86, Jason and I met on this. You know, we saw that it would be about 18, if we stayed at the 60, which we're not going to, we'll have more, 60 per week campers, that'd be about $18 per family per week that we'd have to raise the price to pay for that. Jason had suggested maybe asking, looking at a way to split that, you know, maybe to increase it by 10 or 9 or whatever. So that is, none of that's reflected here, am I correct? They didn't make those changes here, because those conversations just really just started coming to light, so. But if that increases, and that will increase, that's going to happen, we can find ways by increasing the cost of camp a little bit, by reducing the cost of some of our field trips, moving them closer. I think we could find, you know, most of that money somewhere, so it's not affected.
The 8,600, does that give you a bus driver for
7 hours,
a day?
7 hours a day for 4 days a week.
So that could help out with a camp counselor possibly?
Say that again?
That could substitute maybe a camp counselor?
Maybe a little bit, but they'd be mostly driving back and forth and, and finding somebody who has the qualifications of a bus driver and the qualifications of a good camp counselor aren't always the same. Not saying we can't do that, but we did talk about that. Jason and said the same exact thing you did.
And Brian also had commented that the quote that he got for the bus transit was based on the highest paid bus driver, because we have to budget to the worst case scenario.
Sure.
And obviously, if it was a rain day, we wouldn't use the bus.
Right.
If you got a lower paid bus driver, the cost would vary.
Okay.
So that would basically be a weekly billed service? So we
I don't-
get credited if it was a rain week?
In an ideal world, it'd be weekly billed, but we won't be billed prior to.
So it's not a
We'll always
contract.
build after the week, no.
Okay.
We'll always build after the week, whatever services they provide,
That's what we pay?
that's what we pay.
Okay.
Mileage and hours, the mileage won't add up to much. It's about the salary of whoever that driver is, for those drivers for that week.
Fair enough.
Good question. Any other questions?
Well, yeah, Bob.
Go ahead, Jim.
So if we have 60 kids now and you increase the number of kids,
Yep,
that in of itself is going to bring in some revenue to offset the $8,600, correct?
correct. So there's some juggling of numbers there, because we also have to keep our ratios up for safety. So, for every, it's a 12-to-1 ratio that we work with. So if we get too many kids, that means we have to also hire extra counselors. So there's levels you can get to which is more profitable than others, and I keep an eye on that. So, but yes,
So, okay.
I
Going
expect
back to my
on
original question.
average, Jim, last year we had 8 to 10, some weeks as high as 16 to 20 kids on that wait list that we couldn't take because we didn't have enough space. So absolutely, if we can get the staff, then we can make that happen, and it'll pay for that. Correct.
Okay, so my original question earlier, last summer, you had a camp director plus you had Ben working as well?
So the camp is always run with a camp director and a camp assistant director, and then a bunch of counselor staff, which usually high school and some college kids. So that is how the camp is run. It's always had a director and assistant director. Those duties, believe me, they're needed. So we replaced the assistant director with the programmer last year. So the programmer with that position, since our programs drop off during the summer a lot because we're spending so much time with summer camp, it makes sense to put that pay towards working the camp. But they are not the director, they're the assistant director. So nothing's changed there. We've always had an assistant director. Now that's going to be the programmer. The director is, we had a great director for years. She is now retired, and we're trying to replace her.
So we're not adding any person. So last year, Ben was the assistant director, you had a camp director.
Unfortunately, last year we had extra staff, and in my capacity, because I couldn't find the right person, I was the camp director.
Okay, but to answer my question, Ben is going to be the assistant director for the camp this summer.
Correct.
Okay, we're not hiring a camp director and an assistant camp director, and plus we got Ben.
The staff is not changing from any way it's been over the last 7 years, as far as the makeup of the staff. The actual staff is just not the makeup of how we run the successful camp. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think Jim,
for now.
the short answer is correct. We're not adding any additional staff. Ben will be the assistant camp director. There will be a seasonal camp director that does get hired out, as we have done in previous years, but no additional staff.
Okay, so my final question would be, because I brought this up a year ago, I would just be curious that on how many additional new programs we've had in the last year and how much additional revenue has come in since we brought Ben on board as an assistant. Because prior to that, it was just Brian with volunteers and camp directors. Last year, Ben came on board full-time, and I'm just curious how that investment went with how many additional new programs we had versus a year ago, what you know, what he's brought to the table, he meaning the position, not necessarily him, and how much revenue he's brought to the table.
All right, I'd like to answer that in this way, and it's not, maybe it's not exactly the way you want it answered, but bear with me, please. The hiring of the programmer was absolutely to improve the service that we get, to have opportunities to increase revenue, and there's lots of ways that has and will happen. But the hiring was 3 years too late. So a lot of what has he done since he's been hired, I think is kind of an unfair question, though I can also answer that. I'm just gonna take you to a quick timeline and be as quick as I can. In 2019, we had a very competent rec director by the name of Peter Soprano. He was very good at what he did, I thought. And he then was put on leave like a lot of folks during the pandemic. During that time, Naples baseball, softball, which was run privately, and all we did in Naples was take the registration money, and it was run by a totally different group of volunteers. And over time, we saw it coming. They were done with it. There was no more volunteers. The town of Naples, if we're going to have baseball and softball in this town, was going to have to take it over. At that point, coming off leave, the pandemic is over, the work's opening up. Peter Soprano said, "This is too much. It's already too much. This is, you know, one of the reasons he gave for leaving was that it was too much work." So, and it's not just one man's opinion. So, if you look at, and I'll just talk about from that. So, if you go pre-pandemic numbers, we took in 196 registrations a year for our youth programs. In 2024, we took in 513 registrations. So that's, you know, that's not, the amount of children involved has gone up from 234 to 300, but the registrations have gone up considerably more than that. So that's 161% more registrations, and the participants is 28% more participants, and that's just in our youth programs. Since then, you know, also the summer camp at that time has been able to increase. We used to have a minimum of 40-day camper limit. As you know, we went up to 60, and we're looking to go up more this year by the move to Song of Locks. I will be the first to tell you that because we lost our gym, because we lost the ability to use the village green in the same capacity that we used to, and because we lose volunteers regularly, which is a new goal of mine to get that back. But we have not added as many programs as I like. However, in the time since I took over, we've added, like I said, baseball, softball, and quickball, which is the biggest one. We reopened the ice rink. We added a cross-country program. We added swimming lessons, which hasn't been in Naples for 10 years. We added a middle school club basketball program in joint activity with Bridgeton. We added pre-K to our quickball program and pre-K to our soccer program. And then we've added more recently senior cribbage, senior walking. And then the addition of the events committee. They do a lot of work, but a lot of that work is creating work for us too, which I'm not complaining about at all. But more events means more work from us. Since Ben's been here, we have increased the middle school program from 1 day to 2. We added the pre-K soccer and the 2 senior programs, and he's working right now on a middle school Frisbee program. All that being said, it's also been a lot of training. The way that this department is set up, Jim, is he started in the summer. That was all about summer camp. That job is very different.
Brian?
Yeah.
Brian?
Yeah.
You did exactly what I wanted you to do. I'm satisfied.
Okay.
There's been some questions in the town, and I wanted to bring it up, and I knew you'd be prepared to give us the list, so I'm satisfied.
All right, thank you.
Questions, Ed?
Yep. So I'm a little confused. I guess this is more of information on how this works. So underneath each of the events, like basketball, football, soccer, it says officials. And so I know that like when you so like my little one plays soccer, so I know that like, you know, we play against Casco, and like Casco has refs, and like we have refs, and Bridgeton has refs. So are we like putting a certain amount into like a pool, and then the
No.
refs get paid that way?
So how that works, so we'll take soccer, for example.
Yeah.
They're all certified officials, that referee our third and fourth grade and our fifth and sixth grade games. Bridgeton pays them all. I believe the cost right now is $50 per game, per ref, so it's $100 per game. Then they'll take a spreadsheet and be like, okay, that's $100 per game. You know, Naples played X amount, and then they send me a bill.
Okay.
So, and we paid almost $1,800 for soccer officials this year to the town of Bridgeton. And then in turn, in basketball, I pay all of the officials out of our Naples account. And then I send bills to Casco, Sebago, and Bridgeton. And that is also $50 a game. So if we have two Naples teams playing each other, and when you increase the amount of teams you have, that happens more than you used to. That's $100 per game. In football, we run the football program without the other towns, so every home game we host is $225. So, I'm sorry, $225. So it's $450 for 2 games in the day. So
One ref gets 200.
there's 3 refs,
Oh,
$75 per game. They're all certified, it's part of the league. There are no league fees for this league though, so it's pretty good.
that's not bad.
So is the 1,800 line for salaries for the coaches and referees, is that, so you're saying that's what we pay back to Bridgeton
No,
for?
it comes out of our other lines. I don't use that line. I don't know, it's kind of there, I don't know, for an emergency. I don't use it. Nothing's ever come out. Pat, to my knowledge, have you ever taken anything out of that line? I mean, I hope I don't have to pay a coach someday, and there are other towns that do it. Right now, Bridgeton is paying half of their coaches. Oh, I don't know if it's half.
Okay,
That's not
so-
fair. They're paying a lot of their coaches, right, their staff members.
So you're saying we can take that out? So you're saying that we're
Yeah.
1,800 over?
Yeah,
than what you-
absolutely.
Which line are you looking at?
It says 1,800 salaries other, it says miscellaneous pay for coaches slash referees.
So I tell you know what, I last used that
0111.
before, we could probably take that out now because we have a programmer. I last used that when
Right above
I
the
physically
budget
couldn't
Medicare.
get to the ball fields to line them and do other stuff, so we were paying somebody out of that at that point. But now with the extra additional staff, you're right, we should probably take that right out.
Okay,
That's built into programmer salary.
okay. And then you said, was it basketball, you said that you take the money, you pay all the officials and then you get the money back from everybody?
Correct, so we bill all of the other towns.
So in the revenue line for basketball, it says that we should be taking it, guessing, I know that this is just all
Yeah.
kind of, but I think it said 60, or, no, basketball is only 4,700.
That's going to increase, but that's one of the increases that,
But 8,000 out, how much, do you think that 4,000 is capturing what we're supposed to be getting back from the towns?
so when we get, when we get the money back from the town, it doesn't go into revenue. We do a, you wanna help me with this, accounting?
Yeah, it's basically a reimbursement. You're talking about we get money
Yeah,
from
yeah.
the towns to pay the
Yep.
referees. It's not a revenue, it's basically a reimbursement to an expense.
So the expense will balloon up, and then it'll go down before the
It's
end of the year.
offsetting the expense, because it's not a normal revenue. That's how we've done it, it's how the auditors have told us to manage those reimbursements in the past.
So it offsets what? Just the town's bottom line debt?
So I'll pay, for example, I'll
Or
pay
your debt?
I'll pay $8,000 to the referees.
Yeah.
To each individual, it adds up to around $8,000. That hits our, then when we get the checks, I'll bill 2,000 to, this is just,
Yeah.
2,000 each town, we get that 6,000 in, then that $8,000 budget hit gets credited down and becomes a $2,000 hit.
But just so we're clear, we're not budgeting, we're budgeting just Naples expense for referees. So in other words, we could go in the red temporarily on that expense line until we get those reimbursements from the other towns, and then it'll bring us back up.
So the $8,000 that we're budgeting for basketball with the officials is just Naples. So we're paying
That-
out $8,000.
No,
for
that's not
bas-
just officials, that's uniforms, that's basketballs, that's tournament fees.
Right, that's
That's
just for
everything.
Naples.
That's just for
people,
Naples, yes.
Not,
absolutely.
not any other officials outside of Naples. That's
Correct.
just 8,000 for Naples.
Correct.
And then we're getting in about $4,700
That's
for.
going to increase. And I,
So if that increase, your expense is gonna increase too.
no, I think it's, I
Correct.
honestly, I believe right now, we're going over the revenues a little bit more. The expenses already increased on this, but the revenues will. And I'm told that that's being discussed next week or whatever. But also, and and I talked to Jason about this, there's no way to really reflect this into the budget, but I'm proud to say that we tested this year, sponsorship for our soccer shirts. I tested it with 2 groups, the 3rd and 4th and 5th and 6th. We had a great response that really decreased by $2,600 that uniform expense, and we were able to provide an overall better jersey to our kids with their name on the back, and So I am moving forward and going to do that in baseball, softball. I got the information out there now, looking for sponsors, and I'll be looking to do it in basketball next year too. So that'll also deduct that. Jason made a really good point. He's like, we can't, at this point, until it's a proven, we can't predict that we're gonna get all of those sponsors. So it's still an expense, it's still in the budget line, but I think it's going to be pulled out and offset by a lot of sponsors. Does that make sense? I feel like I rambled a little bit there.
No, that makes sense. Aerobics and senior fitness, we're paying out 12,000. Where's that going to?
So we have, if you, this also shows in the revenue line.
Well, not much of it shows in the revenue.
Should, we have a contract, right, Jason, with Pauline?
I mean, fitness shows at 8,500, but we're paying out 12.
Fitness, 8,300.
Yeah, so the way the fitness works, and correct me if I'm wrong on the sequence here, so we budget what we pay Beth to lead that senior fitness Pauline, sorry, to lead the senior fitness program. She collects funds from those that participate. Since we can't guarantee what the participation level will be, that's why the revenues are where they are. But we do pay her a fee to lead those groups. That's why the expense is what it is. So if she has more people participating, we'll bring in more money and the revenue will exceed what the projected revenue is. But our fixed expense is at $12,000.
So we're paying her $12,000 to teach fitness?
She does 3-day-a-week senior fitness classes, and then 2 days a week all ages fitness classes. Yeah.
Where?
Second floor.
Upstairs of the Singer Center. She used to do it in here, but she's upstairs of the Singer.
Okay.
Is that still 3 days a week, twice on each one of those days?
I think it's 3 days a week, but it's twice a week. It's 2 days a week.
Okay,
It's 2 times.
2 times a day.
So it's 5 sessions a week.
So the service.
We get revenue for that too, right?
We
Yeah,
do.
that's what we're just talking about. It's not,
It nearly pays for itself. We budget about $8,500 in revenue for that. But again, since I can't, predetermine how many people are gonna participate, we went with a projected average of about $8,500.
look at,
But which has been the same over the past 3 years. So I mean, are we really keeping track of what comes in, or are we just throwing a number in there for the
no, we
sake of
definitely
throwing
keep
a
track of what
number?
comes in. She brings us an envelope with every single person, they log it, put it in by name, and then I send out, in January, I send out to all of a lot of the fitness people, their reimbursement for their insurance companies and whatnot, so I definitely see that is getting taken care of. I was just looking at the,
Samantha, for the 9 years I've been here,
Yep.
it's almost been all the same people. I don't, she might increase a little bit in the summertime, but usually it's like the same group that comes each time. So.
Yeah. It's a pretty weird number to have for 3 straight years, that a
It
full.
is for 3 years, I agree, but you don't see a whole lot of change in the attendance.
I'm just trying to, maybe it didn't print on this form I had, because I didn't anticipate, but do you know where we are year-to-date, Pat, on that? as far as, you ever have that?
I can get that number for you at the next meeting.
Okay.
Just like, so, yeah, see where we are in money taken in and money paid out to her year to date, so we can see if it's more of a.
Okay. Any other questions for Brian? Jim?
So just one more. So the big money that is going out for each one of these programs, like sport programs, are, and I know I'm sure it changes from year to year on equipment, but it's mostly like the shirts and the jerseys and because I'm assuming like you're not getting new basketballs every year, you're not getting
It's
footballs every
officiating,
year.
and those things. We do get a lot of new basketballs every year, and our younger groups, I get a less expensive ball and give them out. So our kindergarten, first graders, pre-K, they leave with a ball at the end of the year, so, but they also get a cheaper shirt. The cost of the two are not more than the registration, so it's kind of a wash.
Yeah.
Officiating fees keep going up. And the uniform fees, the cost of uniforms have gone up every single year since they took over, which is why
It will keep doing
I
it.
piloted that program this past fall with the shirts, and it went over really big. We had practically zero cost for uniforms for those two age groups. And the kids, I felt, got a better product. I still see kids wearing them around town, so I think it killed two birds, it was really mutually beneficial. So we're gonna grow that into other sports, and I think that'll save us moving forward. Hopefully we'll be able to budget for it a little bit more once we have a proven track record.
It's hard to budget for you, you're asking for sponsors.
It is,
I mean,
it is,
you
yeah.
gotta have the number there, and whatever you get in, we'll just offset that number.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm just bringing it up because some of your numbers, you're at half of what you're bringing in is what is being spent. So that's just why I'm just kind of bringing it to the attention.
Can you repeat that?
So I'm just bringing it to the attention because on a lot of these different from what we're budgeting on what we're taking out and what we're budgeting and what's coming in, we're at half.
So the revenue is half of what yep.
Yeah. So which I know are not final numbers, but I'm just kind
They're
of
not
throwing
final
it out
numbers, and
there.
that number
they're-
has never been, like, we've always subsidized youth sports since I've been here.
Yeah.
If the call ever came and say, hey, the town wants you to make every sport a profit or make a break even, then we'd have to adjust a lot of stuff. We'd have to charge more for our kids to play. But I think the gap will come down with this, especially with this uniform program. I keep making knock on wood, I've said it too many times. But I think the gap's coming down. Over the last few years, we've replaced a lot of equipment, so that number's starting to come down a little bit. So I feel pretty good about where we stand moving forward.
Okay.
And to be honest with you, the revenues, one of the things that now that, as we get a programmer trained and I free myself up, it's not just about running more programs and running the programs we have better. It's about being able to collect money in a timely fashion. It's about being able to keep on top of that stuff, which will also increase revenues.
Great.
Any other questions? Jim, you all set?
Yeah,
Nice, anyone else? Oh, thank you, Brian, appreciate it.
That concludes the topics we were scheduled to discuss this evening.
Is there any other business to be brought before this committee tonight?
I have something to bring up.
Go ahead. Samantha. Oh, hang on, Jim, Samantha's got the floor.
So I went in front of the select board on Monday. There was some adopted rules, right, rules?
Yep, they were issued by the select board in 2009.
Yeah, but was it the select board? No, it was the budget committee. They were adopted by
rules-
the commit.
Right, there were rules for the budget committee
Yeah.
that was guidance provided, that incorporated guidance provided by the select board.
It was by the select board.
Yep.
But there was no backup information, and the topic of the rules were assigning a cap to social security agencies,
Right, so, yeah.
which is a defined term, which I can't find anywhere as
so-
to what that defined term is.
Yeah, well, I think it was social service.
Service agencies?
Yes, so basically those agencies that provide a social service to the community that are private entities. So I think you pointed it out that there were, just during outside agency briefs, we had 4 different communities coming in here that offered drug abuse and mental health care.
Okay, so you mean in like Spurwink and things like
Yeah,
that? Okay,
Yeah, I think they were kind of getting at the outside agencies. And so I talked to the select board about possibly getting more direction on what we should do about maybe like a number
Yeah,
or getting the actual cap.
yeah.
They suggested that we discuss that and at some point, and then they said that we probably won't be able to take care of it until next year. But we would also have to look at like moving the public library out of that category
Right.
and setting a more reasonable cap.
Are you meaning a reasonable cap on overall for that line or for
Yeah, what-
any organization that is a social service organization that comes to us, they can only ask so much?
Yeah, so what the idea of it would be that, you know, the cap would be $20,000, and then we would just take in all of the
As
applications
a
from
group.
everybody. We would look at everyone as an outside agency, and then we would decide as the budget committee, you know, who we would accept in. And then we would, you know, take their numbers that they're asking for, and then allocate as much as we can to the ones that we think would be appropriate, up to the number of whatever the 20,000 or whatever that cap is.
I like that.
And then if there are multiples that are the same, that provide the same service, which is a lot of what we have,
Right.
we can decide to either not give to all and just do one,
I think that's a
you know, or
perfect thing, that we do need
lower
to cap it a little. I
that
mean,
But
amount.
it's up to the
There's-
committee to decide if they want to even fund it, all of them. If they're all the same,
Right.
we have the right to say, no, we're not going to fund it.
Exactly.
Right.
And
You
there
know,
there
so
was
we still
five,
have
there's
the
5 or
control whether
6
it's whatever the number is set.
Right,
and I personally think that we need to look at more of the local ones as the priority and the further away ones
right.
less of a priority.
And the language in the rule, it does specifically say that they wanted to set this cap so that spending doesn't get out of control in that category, because I mean, they are just going up and up and up. And if you take the library out of it, which isn't really an outside agency.
No.
You know, they should really have their own category or be put somewhere else, but, you know, we are sitting right now at 99,000, and, you know,
Yeah.
you take them out, it makes a significant difference, but.
But it's also, I mean, I look at it as, I understand the cap, what you're saying, but if the board, whatever board's sitting here at the time says, you know, 6 agencies come in, they're all offered the same services, between the 6, they want $40,000, we're only gonna give them, between the 6, 10,000. I mean, it's really up to the committee at the time to weigh that, how that fits into the budget for the town, I think.
Yeah.
Not so
Right,
much
we don't,
having, you know,
so
not
you're
so-
basically saying is we don't need the guidance from the select board because we can actually put our own cap on
I mean,
it.
we can put, the committee,
Yeah.
whoever's in the committee can put a cap on what they feel is right for that budget cycle.
Right.
And if there's a lot of overlapping, I mean, yeah, I mean, a lot of these groups are overlapping, but you're talking $42 million company.
Right.
You know, how much really to take care, I mean, we appreciate all the needs they do for the town of Naples.
Right.
When you have that much money and that much extra revenue in your P&L sheet, how much really is the $4,000 we're giving you
Right,
helping?
versus the guy that came in dealing with the kids and
He's the only one in the
he's only
state,
asking for a grant.
and he's the only one in the state of Maine that offers a service.
Exactly.
So
And-
that's why I think the committee itself, whoever's on this committee, has that flexibility and should use that flexibility how they deem is the best avenue
Right.
instead of going by a cap.
Right,
But just my opinion.
well, yeah, if we can institute our own, basically, I mean, not really capping it, but we can decrease or not fund certain ones because of their $32 million. Yeah, I get it.
So, you know, I mean, we vote on it, select board votes on it, we take it to town meeting. You know, the taxpayers can always ask for less,
Right,
Yep.
okay, but they can't ask for more.
yeah.
So, you got a question, Jim?
No, I agree. We already have the power to increase or decrease. We're the ones that interview them, especially if it's a new one. You know, the select board's not gonna go to that detail of interviewing them all. They're not gonna, and in the whole scheme of things, it's not a huge number, like Samantha said. Once you subtract the library, we're not talking a huge number. And she's brought up some good points. She's brought up some good points this year on some of these agencies that are multi-million dollar agencies with multi-million dollar salaries, like how $1,000 donation would go a heck of a long way further to a local organization like the Pantry or somewhere versus a multi-million dollar organization. So
Right.
Yeah.
I think we're on the right track.
But I agree with her, I think that the library really shouldn't be in that category.
Oh, yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
I agree.
Just because of where they are in this town, what they do, they're really not an outside agency.
Right.
Right,
I
right.
think the biggest benefit to it would be that once we get to a certain point where if we do continue to have all these different agencies coming in, like we had 4 or 5 this year, and it gets to the point where it is getting to be, from 10 to 15 to 20 to 30 again, $40,000. If we cap it at 20 and we're at 10 right now or 15 right now, it will allow us to start saying, or not feeling like we need to throw people a bone, or, maybe just throw, give them 500 or give them 1,000, feeling like maybe we need to give them a little bit here and there. If we look at it, we say we only have so much wiggle room, because we're not all gonna be sitting here forever. Eventually other people are gonna be sitting here on this committee, and they may not be doing the background and the research for these companies to know that they're at $46 million for the year, and 36% of it is their CEO, wages.
But the flip side to that is we go ahead and do all that, and we did that one year. We cut back the transportation bus, and they appealed at the town meeting, and somebody made a motion, and there was a second, and the next thing you know, we got forced to fund it.
Yeah.
So ultimately, we can do whatever we want at a town meeting. It ended up, they got their signatures and they forced it right down our throat.
Right, but I mean, like, we could clean up that, category, and we could move.
Oh, I think we
so
could
can move
still
out
do
the
that.
things that shouldn't be there, and like, if you don't
Yeah.
think RTP should be there, maybe that should be, somewhere else, or.
But I think it's,
I would hate, here's the reason why I wouldn't want to have a cap. What's her names? Not the Singer Center, the sewing club there.
Priscilla?
Priscilla Ty, the East Falls.
Priscilla, I'm drawing a blank.
East
I'm
Falls
drawing a blank.
community.
Priscilla.
East Falls
you know,
community.
Each Falls.
Yep.
They needed a lot of work done on their building. So we appropriated that money. And they came to us for extra money that one year. If we had a cap, A, we wouldn't have been able to do it, or B, we would have thrown all the money toward that, and then we would have had to cut elsewhere. So I think if we just do our job, and you're right, each committee's gonna approach this differently. Some of them are gonna, not bother and just fund everything the way it is, or not have the heart to say no. But I think if we try to put a cap, it might come back to bite us when something else happens. I mean, the local pantry might come to us and say, hey, we've only asked for $1,500 a year. Our freezer just went, we need $3,000 or something. So I think there's so many changes between the select board and the budget committee on a regular basis that it would be hard to follow that.
We just institute our own discretion
Right.
and make our own recommendations.
Right.
What,
And that's all we can do. I mean, the committee's set up to do the interviews, to talk to the groups, to see if it's a good fit for the community, to see if it's a fit with the budget that's being presented to us by
exactly.
the town manager. And I know some years in the past, they've not funded some different groups, and sometimes they have. So it's really, I understand what you're saying, someone always is different is gonna be sitting here, but hopefully, them being on the budget committee, they'll know that we have to do our due diligence to see if it's a good fit for our community.
Correct.
Sounds good.
But it's a good point you brought up.
Yeah. That's all I had.
Okay. Any other business being brought before us?
Yeah, I got one other. I'm assuming, Jason, that at some point in time, you're gonna come back to us and enlighten us on some of the changes that are taking place, which in turn are gonna change some of the budgets that were previously presented to us.
Yes, I will. When we go into the voting section, so not next week, but the week after, that'll be the time. That'll be our time when we put the finally sharpened pencil to the budget. I'll provide those projected impact changes to the budget then.
Okay, I just would like to have those ahead of time of that, so we can digest them and study them, because, you know, I may not be ready to vote that night if you hand me something 10 minutes before the vote and say, oh, by the way, we changed this, and this. You know, I'm gonna have follow-up questions, and I'm gonna wanna digest.
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna be able to still make all of our suggestions on things to cut before the
Correct.
vote anyways, right?
No, because at that meeting, when you guys are making your vote night that night, you're making your recommendations, and you're voting on each budget nomination. So any additions or subtractions will happen that night.
Whoa.
Wait, what?
Hang on, Jim.
In the past, Samantha's correct. In the past, we had a work group where we made the recommendations on the cuts to our committee. Like Samantha says, I make a recommendation that we cut $10,000 in this line item. She gives us her reasons why. We voted on that at the next meeting. We swallowed it. We haven't had a working session yet where the 6 of us have sat there around the table and hashed out and discussed stuff. I'm not advocating that we hash this stuff out and immediately be required to vote on what we're recommending to the budget committee. We need a week in between that, or like I would say, even a couple days. There was a time when we had 2 meetings in the same week. But you know, we need time to digest if people are going to make suggestions on cuts or what have you.
Right, so based on those comments, Mr. Chair, we did build in a buffer date of March 5th.
Yep.
As an overflow date. So what we could do is make the meeting that's currently scheduled for February 26th, which is the Budget Committee vote day. We could make that a working group day, and then on the 5th of March, we could make that the day that you vote, that the committee votes.
Okay, I'm good with that.
Yep.
How's the committee, good with that?
Yep, I'm good with that.
It's always nice to have a buffer day set in. Okay, I think that's a good way to do it, Jason.
All right. For the next meeting,
We have-
which is scheduled for February 19th, we'll be reviewing revenues, intergovernmental, which includes school and county budget requests, dispatch, sanitation, which is the transfer station and bulky waste station, and general assistance.
Perfect. Everyone set? So next week, 19th, 6 o'clock, same place. I'll entertain a motion at 7:28 to adjourn.
So move.
Seconded?
Second.
All in favor?
Yep.
Thank you very much.
Aye.
Thank you.